Hello everyone, my name is Harish G. I am a postgraduate teacher in English at JNV Raichur. In today's class, we shall learn how to write formal letters. If you recapitulate what you have learned in the previous classes, there are two types of letters. One is a formal letter, the other one is informal letter. Formal letters are those letters which are written to government officials, applications for job, for inquiry. If you want to lodge a complaint, you have to write a formal letter, so on and so forth. And informal letters are those letters which are written to friends, relatives and close acquaintances. So in this class, we shall learn how to write formal letters. I will be teaching you the format of formal letter, some of the examples, and finally we shall also learn what kind of language we have to use and what is the style that is required to write formal letters. Let's see what are the objectives of today's lesson. Now, letter writing as an art, letter writing as a skill is slowly and steadily dying. So now it's our responsibility to teach our children, and through that we have to revive the passion for writing letters, and we have to develop the skill of writing letters. So that is our main objective of today's class. And again we have one more objective, that we have to enable the students, we have to strengthen our students to write letters, to express their feelings and to communicate their ideas. And through this lesson we also would like to enable our students to analyze and to compare various informal and formal letters, and to note the differences in letter writing conventions, the difference in the vocabulary and the style and the tone of the letter. And we also would like to enable the children to write formal letters to people who are in immediate and extended social and economic or academic environment for diverse purposes. So these are our objectives for today's lesson. Let's know why people write letters. There are hundreds of reasons why people write letters. We already know that letter writing as an art, letter writing as a skill is slowly dying. But then still, there are people who write letters. Okay? So why people write letters? So they write letters to inform something, to inquire about something. Sometimes while applying for job, you have to write letters. And if you want to really apply for some other courses, you have to write letters. And if you want to express your views, you have to write letters. And somewhere somebody will inquire something from you, and to respond to them you have to write letters. So to communicate your ideas, you have to write letters. Now let us see what types of letters are there. There are two types of letters. One is formal letter, the other one is informal letter. Formal letters are those letters which are written to officials, government officers, to our superiors, and sometimes to our subordinates, and sometimes while making a request, sometimes while lodging a complaint, for applying for jobs, for applying for courses, and for making some inquiries. And one more type, we write letters to the editors of newspapers and magazines. So these are called formal letters. And there is another type which is called informal letter, which we already know. Informal letters are those letters which are written to friends, relatives and close acquaintances. So now let us see how these two types of letters look like. Fine, how do they look? Okay. Now if you take informal letter is written to our friends and to relatives and to close acquaintances. We already know. So how they look? What is the format of informal letter? So through the PPT we can very easily understand the real format of both informal and formal letters. Fine. In the informal letter, the starting we write the from address, the writer's address, the sender's address it is called as. Okay. And immediately after that we write the date. I shall be teaching you how to write the date in different formats. Then after that we write the salutations, that also I will teach you. and then comes the body of the letter, and finally the subscription. Okay, subscription, that is the signature of the writer. So this is how we write a formal letter. This is the format of formal letter. Now, format of informal letter. Okay, now let us see what is the format of formal letter. Okay, it's a bit lengthy compared to informal letters, but it's easier again. Now, just like in the informal letter, we start with sender's address, writer's address, then we write the date, and then we write the receiver's address. Okay, here we will not mention the name of the receiver, we will only mention the designation of the receiver. Okay, the person to whom we are writing the letter. So that is the receiver's address. Then we write the subject. Okay, there are some kind of dilemmas, some kind of differences of opinion. Some people say that the subject has to come after the salutations, and some people say that the subject has to come before salutations, right? But the common practice nowadays is to write the subject before salutations. Okay, first we mention the subject and then we mention the salutations. Okay, then after subject we write salutations, then after salutations the body of the letter comes. Okay, and after the body of the letter, finally we write 2-3 lines as subscription. We write, kindly do the needful sir, thanking you, yours faithfully or sincerely, and then we write the signature, and then we write the names of the writer in capital letters. This you have to understand and remember. Okay, in the subscription we write 3 or 4 lines, and we conclude the letter with the signature and the name of the writer of the letter. So these are the formats of both the letters, informal as well as formal letters. And you have to remember, one important point that you have to remember is, in the examination, 1 mark is allotted for format, be it informal letter or formal letter. 1 mark is allotted for only formats, how you are writing the format, the correctness of the format. 1 mark is allotted. Out of 8 marks, say in class 10, this question, letter writing question is asked for 8 marks. So 1 mark is allotted for format. So you have to be very, very accurate, correct when it comes to writing format. And again in the format, let me tell you, the body of the letter is the crux of the entire letter, the very important point of the entire letter. Simply you have written the format, nothing is there in the letter body, then you will not qualify for any mark. Even that 1 mark for the format, that you will be able to get only when there is something in the body of the letter. So children, keep it in mind that the body of the letter is the crux of the entire letter, and there is something written, something relevant to the topic given is written in the body of the letter. Only then you can claim for the mark of format. Understood? Now let's go on to some of the key features of formal and informal letters. Okay, so now formal letters, how they look like, and informal letters, how they look like. In the earlier slide, what I have shown was just a format, but how the entire letter will be, that I am going to show now. Okay, so let's see how a formal letter is like and how an informal letter is like. So formal letters are normally of application type. Okay, they look like an application, but whereas the informal letters, they are not like applications, they are simply like letters. Okay, simply a note kind of letters which are normally written to your close friends, to your acquaintances and to your relatives. But whereas these letters, as I already told you, the formal letters, they are written to the government officials, to the editors, and to officials, to subordinates, to your superiors, so on and so forth. Okay. Then how are the salutations? Okay, how are the salutations? See, in the formal letters, the salutations are sir, madam, okay, respected sir, honored sir, revered sir, so on and so forth. But in informal letters, you don't have to be so formal. Okay, you can straight away say dear father, dearest friend. Okay, so the salutations become so friendly and affectionate. And in formal letters, there is a definite format. Okay, there is a definite format, and in the informal letters, there is no definite format. Okay, you have to write like this only. Okay, the body of the letter has to be like this only. There is no hard and fast rule. But whereas in formal letters, we have to follow certain things. Okay, even in the body of the letter, we have to follow certain things. Okay, then in the formal in the formal letters, the language is very formal. Okay, you have to use very official language. Okay, there has to be grammatical correctness, and there should be a tone of formality. Okay, it should look like a formal letter. The tone also has to be a formal one, and even the language also has to be a formal language. But in informal letters, you can be very friendly. Okay, you can write the letter just as if you are writing to your friend. Okay, as if you are chatting. Okay, so that liberty you can have in informal letters, but not so in formal letters. Keep it in mind. And then the address of the sender and the receiver. Okay, here in the formal letters, we are writing both the address of the sender as well as the address of the receiver. But whereas in informal letters, we write only the address of the sender. In the early days of my teaching, I also had seen in some of the reference books, okay, even in informal letters, there were addresses of the receiver given. Okay, after the entire letter is written, there was a small box given. Some of my friends would agree with me. There was a small box given, and on the box, okay, in the box, the address of the receiver also was written. Actually, this does not come in the format of informal letter. I repeat, this does not come in the format of informal letter, but there were practices like that. But now, even if you don't write that address, it's of no loss. Fine. Okay. Then let's see how the subjects and references. See, in the formal letters, people write subject and there is a reference. And sometimes, if you are adding or enclosing some kind of letters, adding some kind of enclosures, that happens only in formal letters. But in informal letters, there is no subject written, there is no enclosure, there is no attachment, nothing like that. Okay? And then in the formal letters, the complementary clause, okay, the subscription that you write at the end. Okay? Normally in formal letters, you write yours sincerely or yours faithfully. But whereas in informal letters, you can straight away write yours lovingly, okay, yours affectionately, etc. Okay, depending upon the proximity, the closeness of the receiver. Okay, fine. So this is how we understand the salient features of both the letters. Okay, both formal and informal letters. Now let's see what are the different types of formal letters. Okay, now already I told you the formal letters are written to the government officials, they are written to our subordinates, they are written to our superiors, and sometimes we write these formal letters to schools and colleges and institutes for inquiring about different courses, fees structure, whether the facility of hostel is there or not, okay, like that. And sometimes we write these letters to complain against something, sometimes to inquire about something, and for placing orders from different firms, and we also write letters to editors on various topics of our own interest. Okay, sometimes we express our concern, and sometimes we also complain to particular government official through editors, through the letters to editors. Okay, so these are the different types of formal letters. And let's move on, and we will learn how the formal letters are written. Okay, what are the salient features of formal letters and how we have to write these formal letters. Okay, first and foremost, in the formal letters, we know that we write the sender's address. Okay, some people practice along with the sender's address, they also write the sender's name. Okay, but majority of the times it's not necessary that you mention your own name. Okay, in the beginning. Fine. There are reference books where you find the names of the writer written, but then even if the name is not written, it's fine. It's not necessary. Okay. All we need is the sender's address, and address also you should know how to write. Okay. Some people, they don't know how to write the address. What they do? They start writing like this. For example, the address is this. Fine. Number 542. Okay. 4th Main, Rajaji Nagar, Bangalore. Let's say. Now the address should go like that. Okay. It should come. Okay, from smaller entity. Okay. First, your house number, your door number, then the street name, then the area name, and then the city name or town name. So that is the order. And if you jumble up, okay, if you first mention Bangalore, then Rajaji Nagar, then the street name Mahatma Gandhi Road, and then the house number 542, let's say. Fine. So this is very awkward looking kind of address. Fine. So don't do that way. When you start writing the address, let the address be of very clear pattern. Okay. House number, then street name if you have a street name, then the area name, then the name of the town or city, and if you want to mention the name of the state, it's left to you depending upon the size of the address. Fine. And from address has to be the first one that you write in the formal letter. Next, we write the dates. Fine. Date is written in different ways. Okay. There are 3 or 4 types of ways in which we can write the date. The first one is like this: 10th. Okay, 10th August 2020. Okay, it has not come yet, but then still for a reference. Now 10th August 2020. Okay, you write 10, then small th there. Okay, then August, then 2020. Instead, you can also write August 10, 2020, or simply as you write in your notebooks, you can write 10.08.2020 or 10/8/2020. This is how you write your date. Any of these things will do. Okay, it's not that only this way you have to write. Okay, and if you ask me, sir, which one of these is a decent one, very good one, then I would recommend you to write the first one or the second one. Okay, 10th August 2020 or August 10, 2020. These are ideal ones. I don't discount the other two also. All we need is something that looks like a date. Okay, when we sit for evaluating, with the experience of evaluating CBSE class 10 papers for around 16 years, I can say that any format of writing the date is accepted, so long as we know that it is date. Okay, take care. Sometimes children play. Okay, children play. They start becoming over smart and they write 31st February. Okay. 31st February they write. February month does not have 31st. Don't do these things. Okay, this will not fetch you anything. Okay, it's of no need. If at all you are so concerned, so bothered, sir, which date to write? You write the date of examination that you are writing. Fine. Then comes the receiver's address. So receiver's address, usually we don't write the names of the person. For example, you are writing to the principal of your school. Fine. You don't have to mention the name of the principal. Simply the designation of the person. Okay. You are writing to the principal. See, always remember, whenever you are writing a letter to an officer, okay, for an official, right, to an official, I repeat, whenever you are writing a letter to an officer, okay, you have to write his designation, and this designation should be prefixed with article the. Okay, yeah, the executive engineer, the principal, the sub-inspector of police, the assistant commissioner, the deputy commissioner. Fine. So this is how you have to write. That article the is must there along with the designation of the person to whom you are writing the letter. Fine. And then let us learn how to write the subject in a formal letter. Subject in a formal letter is very important simply because it gives you the gist of the entire content in the letter. Now sometimes the reader of the letter may not find sufficient time to read the entire content, so he wants to know what exactly is there in the letter. So in a nutshell, we have to give him that this is the gist of the letter. So a subject should be the gist of the entire letter, and it should convey the entire summary of the letter. Summary in the sense, not the summary part of it. In a single line, it has to tell what exactly is there in the letter. Now, for example, now somebody is writing a letter for supplying of drinking water. Now simply the subject can be request to supply drinking water regarding. And normally I have seen children, when they write the subject, they make that part bold. Okay, make it bold, or if you want you can underline it. Somehow the subject should be highlighted. Okay, and as far as possible keep the subject in the middle of the page. Okay, you center it in such a way that the subject is clearly seen. Then after the subject, as we know, we write the salutations. Okay, normal salutations could be dear sir, dear madam, or respected sir, respected madam. Okay, honored sir, honored madam. Okay, depending upon the type of person you are writing the letter to. Okay, revered is a word. Okay, revered is a word which is the highest form of respect. Okay, that also we can use, revered sir, revered madam. Fine. So that is salutation part. Now let us come to the body of the letter. So body of the letter is very important because that is the crux of the entire letter. Now in the body you have to write the complete details of the letter. Fine. There should be a small introduction. There should be a detailed description of what you are going to write, and there should be a small summary line. Okay. Now the body of the letter is very important simply because in the examination question paper, if an 8-mark question is asked, then out of 8 mark, 4 mark is for content. Okay, it's for content, and for content people search only in the body of the letter. Okay, let me tell you again. 1 mark is meant for the format. 4 marks are meant for the content in the body of the letter. And 1.5 mark for fluency of thoughts. And again 1.5 mark for the accuracy, the grammatical accuracy of the entire letter. Now see, if you really understand the fluency part, the accuracy part, and the content part. So all put together is there in the body of the letter. That's why I say body of the letter is the crux of the entire letter. So you have to strengthen the body of the letter so that you can get complete marks or full marks. So there is a possibility that if somebody writes the entire letter with grammatical accuracy, the fluency of thoughts, then he or she may get the complete marks, the full marks. Now let us come to the subscription part, the closing part. So after writing the body of the letter, then you have to write these sentences. Okay, normally if you really want to have a stock sentence, okay, stock kind of subscription, you write these lines: kindly do the needful sir or madam, then thanking you. Okay, sometimes I have also seen some children writing thanking you in anticipation, and write yours faithfully, and take care while writing yours faithfully. Normally the children make this mistake. What they do, they write yours with apostrophe s. Okay, it's actually wrong. And meticulously when teachers start evaluating, they would look for these mistakes. Okay, so don't commit these mistakes. Don't write that yours with apostrophe s. Okay, let that word go without apostrophe. Fine. So yours faithfully, then signature, and then the writer's name. The writer's name in capital letters normally. Okay. So with that we complete our letter. Okay. Starting from the from address, the sender's address, date, to address is the receiver's address, then subject, then salutations, body of the letter, and the subscription, the last part of the letter. Okay, and after signature, what you do, you also write your name in capital letters. So with that, you have really completed your letter writing. So that's all. Now let me show you a few samples of letters. First, I'll show you a sample of enquiry. Okay, a letter of enquiry. Here somebody is writing to inquire about the accommodation facility. Okay, now somebody from, say, Dadar is writing. He is writing a letter to the manager of a paying guest house in New Delhi. So now you are trying to inquire about the accommodation. Normally you have to write the letter in such a way that you have to get the details. Where is the guest house located? What is the proximity to a nearby railway station or airport or a taxi stand? Whether 24 hours power supply is there or not, and what is a car? Okay, what is the cost and what is the charges that he is levying? Okay, all those things you have to ask for. And finally, you have to ask him to send a detailed instruction or detailed brochure as far as possible. Okay, then now we'll see an example of a letter to editor. Okay, whenever you write a letter to editor, you keep it in mind. Let the body of the letter start with these sentences. Okay, those sentences will be, through the columns of your esteemed daily. Okay, daily here is newspaper. Okay, let your letter begin. When you are writing letter to editor, let your letter begin with these lines. I am talking about the body of the letter. Fine. So body of the letter should start with these lines: through the columns of your esteemed daily, or through the columns of your popular newspaper, through the columns of your esteemed newspaper. Okay, or through the columns of your esteemed daily. This is how you have to start. Be it a complaint that you are taking through the editor of the newspaper, or you are expressing your concern. All those things should start with these lines: through the columns of your esteemed daily. Then you continue with your own content. Then after that, you can finish your letter with the complimentary close, like that, thanking you in anticipation, yours faithfully. Then signature and the name in capital letters. Then I'll also show you a sample of letter for placing orders. Okay, sometimes letters are asked like this: you are the librarian of your school, or you are a physical education teacher of your school. Write a letter to so and so firm asking them to supply these items. Okay, now when you are writing a supply order, okay, a letter for supplying something, then again you have to start the letter. The body of the letter should start like this, right? Through this letter I wish to, okay, or through this letter we wish to place a bulk order for the supply of books, for the supply of musical items, for the supply of sports items. Okay, let your letter start like that. The body of the letter start like that. Okay, through this letter we would like to place a bulk order for the supply of. Okay, earlier I gave you an example. When you are writing a letter to the editor, then your letter should start, the body of the letter should start with through the columns of your esteemed daily. And now when you are writing a letter for the supply of things, then let your letter, the body of the letter start like this: through the letter, or through this letter we wish to place a bulk order for the supply of so and so goods. Okay, musical instruments, sports items, library books. Okay, and after that you have to, whenever you are writing a supply, okay, a letter for supply of books, then what you have to do, you have to take a little bit care. See, if you write the entire content in a running hand, in a paragraph form, normally it does not give a correct picture. Fine. Of course, the reader has to read the complete thing. Fine. Now they want the entire requirement in a tabular form, right? If you give it in a tabular form, it is easy for him to know what really you want. Okay. Now in the example I have given you, I have shown you how a tabular form is written. Okay. The table of requirement, the table of items, okay, should be like this. Okay. Serial number, then the name of the item. Fine. If it is a book, name of the book. Then if it is a book, then author of the book or publisher of the book, and the number of copies that you are requiring. So maybe 3, 4, 5 items. Okay. Don't write some 10 items. It will take your time away. Okay. It will consume a lot of time. So at the most 4 to 5 to 6 items. Fine. So serial number, particular of the item, then it is a book, then the publisher or the author, then the quantity required. Fine. Then again in the orders, fine, in placing orders you have to tell them very clearly. This paragraph is very important here. Okay. See, after the table you write a paragraph saying or asking for discount. Okay, usually those people, the suppliers, give a lot of discount. Okay. Now if you are an institutional buyer, then they give you a discount. That discount matter you have to be very clear. Then you also have to tell them that they are responsible for the damage of goods on the way. Okay. So all those things you have to mention. Fine. So the paragraph that I am showing here, the paragraph that is there in the letter after the table, this can be a stock paragraph, right? You can simply by heart the entire paragraph and reproduce whenever there is a letter for placing orders is asked for. Then afterwards, I will give you one more sample example. Okay, a sample example for a letter of complaint. Okay, somebody is here writing a letter to the municipal commissioner, and he is complaining about the bad condition of roads. Okay, again he starts the body of the letter like this: I would like to bring to your notice the bad condition of the roads of our town or of our city. Okay, so then he writes what and all are there, what is the real problem with the road, so whether the potholes are there, no lights on the roads. Okay, so all those things he will mention. Okay, what happens to the road during the rainy season. Okay, what happens to the road during the early morning times when all the cattle come on the road. All those things you can mention. So after mentioning it, then you have to conclude the letter expecting him to do the needful. So this is how you write a formal letter. So many samples are given, and according to the samples, fine, in the samples you can underline some stock lines, and stock lines if you by heart, and it will be easy for you to write letters in the examination. Fine. So this is how you are supposed to write a formal letter. And very importantly, you understand the format. So format will get 1 mark for you, and the body of the letter for 4 marks, and within the body of the letter, the fluency of thoughts 1.5 marks, and the accuracy of grammar and the structure. So that's for 1.5 marks. So totally 8 marks are there. And if you are presenting the letter in a beautiful form, then 8 marks are guaranteed. So with that, we will come to the end of the chapter, and in the next class we shall see a new topic coming up. Thank you.